Hey everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 8 to 10 days. In today's video, there's a huge amount going on, so we're going to have to whiz through the charts very quickly. We're looking at the rainfall coming up this week. Got some heavy bouts of rain on the way. We've got a storm coming in at the weekend, the summer storm. The remains of Tropical Storm Bertha will be bearing down us on Sunday. Have a look at the next 8 to 10 days, which is going to be cool and showery. And we'll also have a look at some charts at the end of the video from Huug Van Den Dool, who is a long-range forecaster in the United States. Is going for a very interesting winter pattern for the coming winter. Have a look at those in a moment. Now, before I get on with all that, just say about the advertising. There's video ads on our pages at GazWeatherViz.com. If you could hit play on the video ad, you'll be helping to support GazWeatherViz.com. Thanks so much for doing that. It allows me to sit and talk to you via the website, basically. So if you can get involved, play the ad, see what it's about, you'll be helping to support GazWeatherViz. Thanks so much for doing that. So let's start off with today and tonight's rainfall. First of all, this is the high resolution Euro 4 model from the website weatheronline.co.uk. We've got some showery rain coming in across the country today, actually. These aren't going to amount to too much, but there could be some heavy showers mixed in there. As we go through to tonight, though, things are going to get more active with heavy rain coming into Ireland, Wales, southwest England, and that's going to spread northwards and eastwards across the country overnight tonight. There we go, at 6 o'clock in the morning, very wet scene there, pretty much as southwestern Scotland down through England and Wales. Some big rainfall totals clogging up there. It'll sweep across the country through the course of tomorrow morning, leaving eastern coastal areas around midday, hanging back into Scotland though. And then through tomorrow afternoon, it's a case of heavy showers, particularly in the east, where there could be some hail and thunder mixing. Things do calm down as we get through to Wednesday night. This is midnight on Thursday. The total precipitation expected in the next 48 hours shows that much of England and Wales could get up to 20-25 millimetres. That's around an inch of rain. But out in the west and the southwest, we could be up to 40 or 50 millimetres. Now that's over high ground. So it'll be quite localised, but yeah, they're going to be pretty wet old spell of it overnight, tonight and through tomorrow morning. And then we've got questions about Friday. This is the very latest hot off the presses run from the GFS model. This is 6 o'clock run. And this is showing, once again, we've got heavy rain here across England and Wales. So some torrential rain mixed in with that through the course of Friday, maybe thundery too. Now, the thing with this is that it's changing from run to run. So this is very different to how the midnight run looked from the GFS model, the one before this one, which actually had the rain on Friday confined to France. It didn't bring it up at all across the country. So it's very uncertain what's happening on Friday. And I think we've got to wait for this to come into the time frame of the high resolution model to really pin it down. And that'll be from tomorrow that we start to get this in the high res time frame. But there is still the risk of some very significant rain, possibly some localised flooding across parts of England and Wales in particular on Friday. Then we go through to the weekend, and all eyes will be on the remains of ex-tropical storm Bertha. I just want to show you this. This is the facts chart for Thursday. This is the human interpretation of the forecasters by the this is the human interpretation of the models by the forecasters at the UK Met Office. And very unusual here, we've got a named tropical storm or hurricane out in the Atlantic. You don't see that very often on these charts. By the time these storms get up into the northern part of the Atlantic, they usually lose their name as they're downgraded. But there we are off the coast of Newfoundland on Thursday. We will have a named tropical storm Bertha. That will head out into the Atlantic. It will be downgraded very rapidly after that as it heads out into the Atlantic. It'll be bearing down on us by the time we get through to Sunday, probably as an area of low pressure. Now this is sometime after, the detail is uncertain about this, but there we are. I've got a 985 millibar area of low pressure across Ireland on Sunday. Tightly packed isobars around it. It's going to be windy, wet and windy Atlantic storm sweeping in. Don't often see a chart as bad as that on the 10th of August. To be honest, it's very unusual to have an area of low pressure as deep as that in August, but particularly the first half of August. But there we go, deep Atlantic storm moving in as we get through to 6 o'clock in the evening, midday through 6 o'clock in the evening on Sunday, that low pressure is still churning away. Very tight packed ice bars showing that the worst of the winds could be across England and Wales, but of course it's a long way off, and we've got to pin down exactly where that low pressure is going. So I think we can say virtually all of the country will be at risk, at least, of some heavy rain and gales on Sunday. That could be quite a disruptive spell of weather. Going out beyond that, it looks like it's staying quite cool and unsettled. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles. The red line here is the 30-year average, the thick red line, and temperatures are going to be no better than average, and in some instances, particularly through the middle of next week, below average, quite significantly below average being indicated there. So pretty cool spell coming up. Lots of rainfall spikes as well. This is tonight's rain, and through the course of tomorrow morning, this spike here. Next precipitation spike is for Friday, showing there's good agreement within the GFS ensembles that there's going to be a wet old spell, even if the operational runs are swinging around for Friday. And then these spikes here are for Sunday's area of low pressure. Going out beyond that through next week, we keep those spikes going, perhaps not quite as well defined, but there will be more showers or longer spells of rain coming through next week. The Manchester ensemble is very much the same. Temperatures are going to be pretty depressed, really, and lots of heavy rain coming through. In fact, of course, as it always is, it's a wetter ensemble for Manchester than for London. The temperature anomaly for the next week shows that we're going to be seeing temperatures no better than average, not particularly exciting temperatures from the 5th to the 13th of August. The precipitation anomaly shows we're going to be average to wetter than average, and it could be wetter than this. This anomaly is based actually on the midnight run of the GFS, which I told you we didn't bring the rainfall up into the country on Friday. We kept it down across France. So if that rainfall does come up across England and Wales on Friday, it's going to be wetter than this anomaly would suggest in the coming week. So have a look at the generic charts. This is for GFS. This is for Tuesday, a week's time, and low pressure is dominating up to the north and the northeast of the country. If you follow the isobars back, the wind's going from a cool point in the Atlantic off the coast of Greenland. So we bring cool air in within that area of low pressure, and that low pressure will be providing showers or longer spells of rain. And that really is the case throughout next week. This is Wednesday the 13th. Low pressure is up to the northeast. High pressure is in the central part of the Atlantic. It's cool with northwesterly winds, and it's showery as well. Going through to the 15th, day 10, Friday the 15th, the low pressure is still there to the north of Scotland. It's still cool. If you follow the isobars back, they go from a long way north, actually. Air originating from the North Pole will be moderated as it comes down through the Atlantic, of course, but it's going to be cool, I think, through next week, and there'll be lots of shower, particularly in the north. The East MWF, very similar. Low pressure is in control, so it's going to be showery at the very least through next week. And then as we go through into the middle of next week, that low pressure is still there over Scandinavia, and we still bring down this northwesterly flow. We aimed up on day 10, Friday the 15th, with the isobars going back to the north. The areas originating in the first instance from the Arctic, although it's being moderated as it comes down. But it's going to be cool, and those northerly winds will be feeding in showers, particularly to the north and the east of the country. And it will take a long time from that sort of chart to get into sort of a very warm or hot pattern. So even out beyond the middle of August, I think you can say it's going to be staying pretty cool probably, and quite showery. Certainly no sign of the hottest August for 300 years, as was in the paper last week. Now, just have a look at the charts from Huug Van Den Dool. As I said, Huug is a long-range forecast from the United States. It's an analog-based forecast based on sea surface temperature anomalies. Huug has looked at the sea surface temperature anomalies, in this case, last month in July, and what he's done then is created a forecast based on past years with a similar sea surface temperature anomaly. And what Huug Van Den Dool is seeing for the winter of 2014-2015 is a lot of blocking up to the north around Greenland, and also stretched out to the north of Scandinavia as well. Lots of high pressure. We've got a negative North Atlantic oscillation. We've got low pressure in the central part of the Atlantic, and the upshot of this is that we'd be bringing in easterly winds or northeasterly winds from that sort of direction, with this low pressure out in the Atlantic trying to bring up these southwesterly winds, mild winds of course. We've got a battle going on. There could be some snow events, most certainly, if that was to come off. The temperature forecast for the winter. Look how cold it is across most parts of Europe and back into Russia as well. Severely cold temperature anomalies being seen by Huug Van Den Dool there. For us, we're on the periphery of the cold, as we always are. We're over here in the far right hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. We've got near normal temperatures. Actually, by the way, notice how warm it is up over Greenland. That's because of all the northern blocking. But for us, we're near normal with the temperatures. But I think we would be colder than that, to be honest. With that sort of setup, I think we would have a colder winter, most definitely. And of course, there would be snow at time. But it's just telling you that the worst of the cold is always going to be the east. It's always going to be across the central and eastern part of the continent, back in towards Russia. But we would certainly be at risk of bringing that cold air in at times. And in terms of a precipitation anomaly, well, this just tells us that the Atlantic is being blocked off, because we've got all this above average rainfall in the Atlantic, but it's not really getting in across the British Isles. The precipitation rate for us is actually near normal, and quite interestingly, notice it's drier than average over here around Norway. That's telling us we've got an area of high pressure sitting over Scandinavia, and of course it's that high pressure that feeds in those easterly winds on its southern side. So I think Huug Van Den Dool is definitely seeing a colder than average winter, well, certainly for Europe, and I would anticipate we would have a colder than average winter for us as well on that sort of a setup. So we're going to have to wait and see how that develops as we go through the autumn. He could change his idea on that, but certainly at this stage it does look significantly blocked and quite cold in terms of what Huug Van Den Dool is seeing for the winter. But coming back to the nearer time frame, which of course is of most interest, I'm sure, to most of you, it looks like we're going to be seeing some pretty wet weather coming up. We've got to pin down what's happening on Friday, but there will be heavy rain tonight and into tomorrow. And then all eyes on the storm coming in over the weekend. Sunday could be a significantly wet and windy day, certainly for the time of year, and it stays cool and unsettled into next week. That's all for now. A lot going on, a lot to digest. I'm going to go and have a lie down in a dark room. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.